everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of SeeYou Weekly. I'm your host, Mariah Ashley, and this is a super special episode because we have two guests, and I'm going to go ahead and get right to it. Guys, introduce yourselves.
All right. I'm Sarah Mowitz. I'm a junior here at the University of Illinois. I study ethnomusicology, which I promise is like an actual major. Basically, I am writing my senior thesis on LGBT hip-hop, like hip-hop of the queer community. I am an RSO president here on campus and an RA at Allen Hall. So, yeah, that's some of the stuff I do.
Hi, I'm Hannah Butler. I am not that interesting, but if you want to know more going on in my life, you can follow me on Twitter at Rye_407.
And my name is Amelia McGavro, and you can find me on Twitter at ACMcGavro.
All right, guys, so let's jump right to it. So, something I'm super excited about this weekend, Step Down 2K14. I have to think about the year, you know. But yeah, so basically, the Divine Nine, which is all of the 9 Black Greeks, are here finally. And they're going to be competing in a step competition, and it's going to be super popping, and I'm just so excited. I know I'm excited. What are you guys thinking about it? What are you guys looking forward to?
I am kind of excited because, like, the first week I was here at the U of I was outside, and, like, mind you, I was a very, very, not sheltered, but I did not know a lot when I came here. So I came here, and then there's a step group stepping outside of the Union. And I remember I was like, this is just like Stomp the Ground. I was like, oh my gosh. So I am actually...
Stomp the Yard.
Stomp the Yard, I was going to say.
Stomp the Ground. Stomp the Yard. It's okay.
That's the remake. I'm joking. Yeah. Stomp the Yard. And I was just amazed. So then next time, which I'm going to this for sure, I am like kind of stoked because it's going to be like the movies, right?
I hope so. I hope it's going to be better than the movies. Because to me, because it's going to be real. That's why it's going to be better than the movies.
Yeah, and I just think there's going to be, and I was talking to the actual Black Greek Council's president, and he said that they're going to really incorporate more of an entertainment and performance along with the stepping, you know, and apparently each fraternity and sorority has their signature dance that's called strolling. And so they have their signature stroll that they're going to be incorporating in these moves. So it's going to be really, really entertaining and fun to see.
I'm just excited. Not only am I like a big fan of the art form itself, but I'm just excited to have this kind of Black visibility on this campus in general. It's just really exciting to me, and especially in the form of something as accessible as the Greek system. It's going to be really, really cool, so I hope to go as well.
Yeah, you guys, if you don't have your tickets already, they are $10 and they are sold at the Quad Shop. They probably will be more than $10 if you wait, so don't wait. The show is Saturday, right? Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
So it is at Follinger. So
From
be there
2
or
to 6.
2 to 6.
Mm-hmm.
Be there or be square. So, in other news, you know, we always have to talk about our celebrity on the round table. So this week is Justin Bieber, and this I just personally find this is just funny to me. But he was reading tweets about himself, and somebody said, hey, they were talking to God in their tweet. They were like, hey God, you know, we want to make a deal. You know, can we trade you Justin Bieber if you give us Tupac back? And I was dying laughing, and his face was just like, he was so stale. But I mean, would you guys trade Justin Bieber for Tupac?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes?
Yeah.
Yes.
Universal yes.
Sorry, Bieber.
No.
We have no supporters here on the show today.
Never.
No, that was funny. And then there's also been a lot of talk about Americans, I guess you would say Americans, are trying to get Justin Bieber deported. They're trying to get him back to Canada. And Canada's like, no, we don't want him back because when we sent him to you, he was fine. He was a nice, sweet, innocent boy. Now he's been there, and
It's terrible.
Exactly. What do you guys think? I mean, Are they wrong? Can we blame Canada for not wanting him back? Did we do this to him?
Yeah. I think so. I feel bad for this guy because if the trend is that every child star grows up to be crazy, I think something's wrong with America. Like, seriously, what have you... But honestly, though, he has been kind of a douchebag from the beginning. That's just my opinion, though. So I think he needs to either... No, actually, take him. Just throw him back because there's no more time. It's already done
Stop
with
the
me.
complete thought. What do you think, Sarah?
Well, I think it's an interesting, like, use of effort because it takes, 10,000, or no, I'm sorry, 100,000 signatures on this petition to have Obama read it. And, like, with that kind of manpower and passion, you could get so much else done.
That's so true.
And I'm just wondering why Bieber and, like, why him and why it's confusing to me. And I also, I mean, I'm no fan of Justin Bieber myself, but I'm just thinking of, like, oh man, if I could have that many people do something, that I wanted to do, it could be, really cool.
It change.
So.
Well, it's like that's what people care about.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, look at Miley. I mean, the second that she went on stage, she was the talk of the town for months. She still is. So this kind of thing is always going to be on people's minds, and they're taking it to a whole new level.
Yeah.
Grant, I'll give them that, but gosh,
It's crazy. First of all, I wonder, where are all the believers? Like,
Yeah.
I thought they were just so strong and united.
Right.
Like, they left him. You
Well,
have
I'm
no
just
more
I'm
believers.
thinking of so many like heartbroken young girls. Like if he can't come back to the U.S. to play shows or anything.
Yeah.
It'd be so sad.
It's really interesting. Like, I feel like we just thinking about just his track record. We've done so much to get him to this high, super celebrity status point, only to work just as hard, I guess, to take it away. Like,
Yeah.
that just goes to show in America, you only have so long before we just turn. I don't know. So our next topic is the Bikini Bridge. If you haven't heard about it, it's basically this idea that you're fit and you're attractive if you have the Bikini Bridge, which is when you have your bikini on and you're laying on the sand and you're laying straight down, there should be like a gap between your bikini and your skin. So there should be like this straight bikini, and then under here would be essentially where your skin is.
your hip bone should be protruding enough to
Exactly.
have that gap.
Your hip bone should be protruding. That doesn't even sound
That's
healthy.
No. Yeah. And I think like the thing that I see all of the different like sexist implications with this, but the thing that worries me most is the way that we body shame like thin women, and so I'm sure that the backlash is going to look a lot like, oh, they're too thin, or like you're being too thin, which I don't think that it makes sense to body shame one body to make another body feel better, but at the same time, most of the time a healthy woman can't achieve a bikini bridge. Like that's not something that can happen for most women. So
Yeah, it kind of makes me the thigh gap, where you had to have a gap in your legs. Like,
Yeah.
how does that even happen? I don't know. We are so obsessed with just looking, I don't know,
Like skeletons?
kind of. It's like, just be you, do you, eat what you want to eat, and then go on with your day. It annoys me so much because there's so many girls that grow up with these trends, and it trends by hashtag bikini bridge. It's just so negative, and no one's it's kind of like saying if you don't have one, get one, and then you'll be beautiful. It's so annoying.
well, and it just feeds really, really negative, life-altering, and endangering body image issues, and then eating disorders.
Yeah.
That's what it's going to lead to. So
Yeah, I think just the worst part about it is just when you try to make somebody, have a physical goal. Like, to me, it always should be like what you want. I don't have anything against people who watch what they eat or people who regularly work out. Do what you do. But to say, oh, your body has to do this when you're wearing this, or you have to look like this, like you said, most women body types, they can't have that even in the healthiest state. That's just not how all bodies are, made. It's just, like you said, it just encourages just negative body images, I feel like. But new trend, hopefully you won't follow it. And if you have the PE bridge, good for you. If you don't, that's okay. I don't have it. You guys have it? I don't. Nobody on here
no
has
cars
it.
over my bridge.
No bad for me.
Stupid hills, probably. I don't know.
Okay, well, the last thing we're going to talk about today is Easter, which surprisingly this year is landed on the popular, I don't know if I would call it a holiday, celebratory day called 420. If you're not familiar with that, 420 is the day that people celebrate cannabis and like to smoke a lot of cannabis. So, with that landing on Easter, I'm wondering what's gonna happen. What do you guys think is gonna happen? Do you think people are gonna, hit the joint before they go to church, or hit it after they go to church, or they're just not gonna? What's gonna happen?
I think that if parents are aware of it, they're gonna be like mine. They're like, we're not very religious. I'm Catholic, so like we're not really religious about it, but it's kind of like if I did smoke, my mom would be like, "So Hannah, I'm gonna wake up at like 6 a.m. and come to my room and we'll talk a little bit." Like, I think that parents would be a little bit more aware of it because it's kind of like really well known. Everyone knows what's gonna be happening. So I don't know. I'm like kind of interested to see what's gonna happen. I really hope.
I feel like people are gonna use it. They're gonna be like, I'm gonna be closer to God. Like, come with me, rise with me as I go. Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like I don't.
It's gonna be more quiet in church for me.
I think the people who will participate are the people who've been doing it for a very long time, and if they've been doing it for this long, then their parents have no idea.
I mean, do you guys think that it's wrong? Like, you shouldn't smoke weed on today because it's Easter? Like, what do you?
I think fall days, you should put it away. I mean, it's about God. If you're, Easter is a religious holiday. It's Catholic. You should know your values as well to put that away. But some people, you can't control what they do.
Yeah.
Well, and there's a large population, especially on this campus, that they don't identify with any religion at all. So, when I first, heard about it, I was like, oh, it's just another day for me. But for, so I think it really depends on the student, and I think it's kind of a subjective issue. But I'm also not one that's, against use of cannabis for moral reasons. Yeah. So, I don't know. I guess it depends on the person.
I personally feel like, I mean, just to be straight up, it's not any more wrong or less wrong if you do it on a Sunday, if you're going to do it all week. I'm one of those people who is super anti of the church goer that's sent it all week, and then Sunday comes and they're all just praise him, and you're like, come on now.
Yeah,
Monday through Saturday, you was getting it popping. So, exactly. But to each his own. Well, we're going to go ahead and get into the second guest. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Hi, I'm here with our second guest for this evening, Miss Xochitl. Xochitl, can you please introduce yourself again for the people?
Yeah, my name is Xochitl Sandoval. I am an indigenous student on this campus. I'm a senior, and I'm a major in Latin American and Caribbean studies.
Okay. So, Xochitl, I just want to say on the behalf of the team, we're so glad to have you here. And if you are not familiar with why Xochitl is here, she recently wrote an open letter to the university and the Chancellor Phyllis Wise on the chief, and with it being disrespectful essentially to her culture and other indigenous people. Xochitl, now, I've read your letter. I'm pretty sure most people on the campus have read your letter. It takes a lot, I feel like, to to get the just the guts to feel like, oh, I'm just gonna tell, you know, all the administrators, the university, everyone exactly how I feel, you know. I'm just curious, you know, was this something that you always felt like when you were, you know, since you came to the university? I know you're a senior, so you've been here for a while.
Well, I actually transitioned. I transferred into this university as a junior.
Oh.
So I did 2 years of community college. But yeah, ever since I found out that this was still an issue on campus, even though the mascot had been retired, I've been pretty much feeling the same way. Maybe in the beginning I was a little more hopeful that people would be open to listening to this perspective of an indigenous student. But as the semesters went by and nothing really happened and we got so much negative backlash, it kind of became a little more, okay, we need to do something else, try another tactic, because it's not going away.
Yeah. Now you guys, like, I mean, we all know why we don't have Chief Alana Weck anymore. You know, when you guys read this, what were you guys' reaction to the letter when you first read it?
I was very surprised, to be honest. I was like, I would not have the guts to do that, because I can't even stand up for myself sometimes. But it's like, I was like, wow, like I had never seen something like this before. So I actually really think it's a really brave, for one, and two, like everyone kind of knew it was like still, it's like an undercover thing. So bringing it back up is kind of like about time. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I think.
Yeah, and for one, going directly to the administration, that was brave in itself to know that those were the people that were going to ultimately make the change. So very gutsy and very brave. We'll see if they listen.
I mean, I hope so. Part of the decision to address it to the administration was because, you know, talks with students haven't been very fruitful. Most of the students continue to be pro-chief, and most of the alums as well. And so I said, well, you know, we've tried to educate people on why this image is offensive, and they're not getting it. They're not willing to listen. So let's go to the people in charge.
Now, you know, now I want to say that I struggle with this topic in particular because I know that the university has taken the chief away. It's not coming back. We all know that. And I mean, for it to still, you know, affect you personally, I'm wondering, what do you think that the university can do so that, you know, the problem will be eliminated altogether? What do you think are the next steps for the university to take?
Yeah, so at the end of the letter, I indicated what I thought the last steps should be. And so I think the first thing that the university should do is formulate an apology to the indigenous and native students on campus for letting this issue to continue on as it has. And I also think that a good beginning for the university, not that that is the ultimate goal, but it certainly is a start, is to prohibit students from wearing any kind of chief images in any way, shape, or form in the classroom.
Do you guys think that that's that's likely to happen? Do you think that the university will do it, or if they won't, why wouldn't they?
I think to say with problems, they will do it, but like everything else, like for example, I'm more comfortable, or not comfortable, like knowing more about is like racism. People, it's gonna happen. You know what I mean? Like we don't want it to happen. It's gonna happen. So it's like I really think it's a goal that everyone wants, but it's just like politically, it's gonna be really hard and it's gonna take like a big crowd and big influence to change it. It could happen. I'm not saying it can't happen, but it's definitely gonna take a long time.
Yeah.
Because you will always have those people who want to attach themselves to that
Right.
image, that really fell in love with it. You know, for the alumni who grew up, went to school here with the chief still a major part of the university. So it's going to be hard to erase that for quite some time. But the university also has taken measures. They don't print, or they've prohibited printing shirts on campus that have the chief on them. All the shirts that you see around campus have been bought online. So as far as the next steps for the university to take, they've taken quite a lot. It's just a matter of people, you know, switching their ideals. And
Yeah, I mean, you know, even though the university has said that the image isn't allowed anymore, the university still continues to let Ivan Dozier Jr. dress up as the chief and perform at sports events, not in, you know, in the middle where everyone can see him, but I know he still makes appearances. So the university has kind of washed its hands from the subject, but they haven't really done anything to eliminate it. And as far as students go, I think that the masses have power, and there's always power in unity and solidarity. And I know that if this were an issue, let's say someone started wearing, or it became a thing to wear images on t-shirts of African American slaves, right? And that just became a thing, or of people being lynched, or, you know, if all of a sudden the university decided to have oh, we're going to be the white trailer trash, you know, of the university, and that's going to be our symbol, then that would be addressed really quickly because of the number of students and of the number of students who would accept that these are racist images and that we need to stand up together and speak out against them and protest against them. And so I think one of the issues with the chief is that some people don't want to come into solidarity with the cause. Some people want to, other minorities, other people of color want to think that this is purely an issue of indigenous people and an issue affecting Native people. And so instead of showing solidarity, because everyone as minorities have felt some kind of oppression or discrimination or racism, or even if they haven't felt it personally, they know that in the history of that race, of that ethnic group, that they felt it. If we would come together and find that unity within that, then this issue would be addressed. But I think that's also, you know, even the students that are against the chief aren't doing anything about it. And I think that's also a really big issue, that if you know something is wrong, then it's your responsibility to act.
Yeah. I think one of the biggest things about trying to fix this problem specifically is the lack of numbers. You know, you don't see a lot of indigenous people, and if you do, you don't know that you're seeing an indigenous person. It's a lot easier to say, oh, I see this black girl walking on campus, I see this white girl walking on campus, but before you say, oh, I see this indigenous individual walking on campus, you do have that lack of support, I feel like. And I think that once you're able to get the students to feel as passionate about it as you are, then a change will come about. Because I do know that the university does take other measures during unofficial. I know I work in the dining hall. I know that on unofficial you can't wear green. I also know that if you live in the dorms, you can't have guests during unofficial. You know, and I feel like, honestly, if you're paying this much money to be in the dorms, you should be able to bring a guest if you want to, whenever weekend. But they have that jurisdiction to say, no, you can't, and no, you can't wear green to work. If they can do that, I feel like they probably could do more about lowering the amount that we see the chief, and making sure that it's not just something that we're just going to continue underneath the board and without other people, you know, knowing and blaming our face. But it's definitely something that, you know, should have been brought to their attention, and I'm really glad that you have brought it to the students' awareness. Thank you so much for coming on the show, and we hope to see you soon. I'll be looking forward to following your progress as a student activist. Could you tell us just really quick some things that you're trying to do as far as a student activist on campus? You know, how can people, you know, help you get to your goal?
So if people will go to my Facebook page, one of my notes has the contact information for the administrators that I wrote the letter to. And so if you are supportive with this cause, you can go to my notes and email the chancellor and everybody else who is mentioned there, and tell them that you stand in solidarity and that you would also like to see the mascot removed.
Okay, and could you just give us your Facebook name just so everybody can make sure they're able to get to it?
The easiest way to contact me is via email, and
Okay.
so people can write to me at Sandoval X Media. So that's SANDOVALX MEDIA
Okay. Well, thank you again, Xochitl.
Thank you.
Hello to you and welcome back to SeeYou Weekly. I'm your host, Andrea Medina. The use of Native American names and mascots in sports has been a topic of debate, especially here at the University of Illinois, where students still commemorate Chief Illini Weck, even after its retirement in 2007 for the misrepresentation of indigenous cultural rituals and stereotypes. So joining us to talk about this is Xochitl Sandoval, an indigenous student activist. Welcome. Pleasure to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so let's get to it. So let's begin by discussing the letter you wrote to the university administration. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so about a week ago, I wrote an open letter to the university administration, and I included several people, not only the chancellor, but also the board of trustees, the Office of Diversity, Equity, Access, and the dean of students, in response to a situation that I had experienced in the classroom in which students were continuing to wear chief shirts. And so that was making for a hostile classroom environment, and so I wrote this letter as a response.
Okay, so I think a lot of people want to know is why did you go as far as saying I'm going to shoot myself in front of the quad? Like, what did you hope to achieve from that statement?
Yeah, I think a lot of people have that kind of question because they didn't read thoroughly my letter and they didn't take the time to critically analyze it. And so my intention was never to commit suicide. Rather, I included that piece to demonstrate the moment of frustration that I had, in which I saw that the university administration was so apathetic to this issue that it drove me to a point where I was feeling like there's no solution for this. And so that was a momentary feeling that I had. It wasn't actually a plan that I intended to carry out.
It's understandable. So is the university doing anything to accommodate what your letter entailed?
No, not at all. Since I sent it out, I haven't gotten any response from them.
Okay. So a lot of students and alumni say that they never saw the chief as some sort of mascot. It's more of a respectable symbol. What do you think about that?
I think that the majority of this campus, and that is a reality, and this university was built on white people, non-indigenous people, and so these are the people that are maintaining that an indigenous mascot, a Native American mascot, is not offensive, because it is the non-native voice supporting that idea that that the chief is actually honoring, that it is respectable, that it is something that can unite the campus. And so I think that a big reason for that is because it's been the non-indigenous voice that supports that idea.
Completely understandable. So what exactly is offensive, racist, disrespectful of the image of the chief? What's your take on it?
Everything about the chief is disrespectful. The chief is a spiritual leader of a community, and so in order to wear that regalia, it must be earned through a lot of time, effort, and dedication to the community. And so for someone to prance around in that regalia, someone that hasn't earned that position, is like a modern day minstrel. Had it been any other race that was being offended, had it been a spiritual leader of any other religious group, then I believe it would have been handled already. And so that's one part of why it's offensive. Also, it's not really honoring the people of Illinois. The regalia that's being worn is similar to that of a Plains chief, and the Lakota Nation has already stated that they do not find this image respectable. And so there are a lot of national organizations that say these kinds of mascots are not only offensive and racist because they are caricatures, they're stereotypes of a living, breathing people, but they are also psychologically damaging.
So what exactly are your concerns of the chief? What do you really think about it?
I think my letter was pretty clear about what I think about it. I dislike it, I don't approve of it, and I think the university should be acting to eradicate it completely from the campus.
So seeing the images of the chief on bumper stickers, shirts, buttons, and so on, how does that make you feel, and does it even make you feel welcomed? What is it?
Yeah, so and I encourage everyone who watches this show, there is a statement produced by the American Psychological Association. They did a study in order to find out if these mascots, if Native American mascots in general, were harmful to people. And they assert psychologically that yes, these images are psychologically damaging to both Native people and non-Native people alike. And so every time I see that, it's like a little stab in the side of, you know, we don't care about your opinion. We as students, we as alumni, we as administration don't care that you feel like this environment is hostile. We don't care that you disapprove of this. We don't care that you're a student here who really wants to feel included and part of the campus. We just don't care. And so I feel saddened by it. I feel angered about it. And I feel disconnected from the campus community.
Absolutely. So I know you said in your letter that I guess like the reason why you wrote the letter was because you felt disrespected in one of your classes of one of your classmates wearing a Chief Illini Wix shirt. So how are you going to stop students wearing Chief Illini Wix shirts or wearing or displaying it?
I, as a student, cannot. I think it's obvious from all of the backlash that has been received by students as well as alumni that people aren't ready to be educated on the subject. They're not ready to let go of this symbol for whatever erroneous meaning it may have for them. And so personally, the way that I'm trying to get rid of this image is by pushing university administration to handle that situation, because they have the power and they have the responsibility towards students to create a safe, inclusive campus.
Absolutely. So I know in other universities they have cultural symbol mascots as well. So for instance, like Notre Dame, they have, I think, the fighting Irishmen. So how is that different from the Chief? I mean, they're still displaying some sort of cultural symbol. How is it different, though?
I wouldn't know how to answer that question. My work is specifically with the Chief mascot on this campus. But I believe if the Irish were upset by the fighting Irishmen, that they would have addressed that situation. And so I think the difference is that at least in numbers and population, then the Irish have the population in the United States that if they were offended by this symbol, then they can speak out against it and have it changed. And so I don't believe that they have been upset by it, and so I respect that I can't have an opinion. I can't be offended for a group which I am not a part of, and neither can I accept an image that I'm not a part of. So if the Irish haven't spoken up against the fighting Irishmen, then maybe they are not offended by it.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, and I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.